Today I'm going to talk a little bit about rhinoplasty, but more importantly, a lot of people wonder, how do I choose where to go? Okay, now that's obviously an important consideration when you're considering any type of surgery, even more so the nose, because it's on your face. You want to make sure you get the best possible surgeon who understands you and can deliver for you, right? Obviously, I think the first point to say is that when you're contemplating any kind of surgery, knowledge is king. So arm yourself with knowledge. That's really, really important. And nowadays, there's no excuse for not arming yourself with this, because it's a touch of a button. Just go on the internet and you'll be able to find a lot of information about your chosen operation. Now, in this case, we're talking about rhinoplasty, okay? So rhinoplasty, or nose job, as everybody more commonly refers to it. So obviously you want to do your homework, find out a little bit about all the operation, what it involves, post-operative recovery, afterwards, in the healing stages, how long it's going to take for you to go back to work. All these things you need to find out about, okay? So read it at your own leisure, in the comfort of your own home. Now, after that, you've got to choose some consultants for you to see, to visit, so you can discuss your operation and discuss what your needs and what your expectations are. And that's obviously goes without saying. You need to choose 2 or 3 surgeons. And sometimes you use recommendations from family, friends who perhaps used a surgeon before they feel comfortable with what they're like, and they may suggest, hey, go see this person or that person. So you do that. Of course, alternatively, some people don't have any recommendations, in which case then what they do is usually go on Google, they'll search, see what comes up top, try to decipher who to go to, because it is a little bit of a game trying to determine who you're going to go to, right? Because just because somebody's at the top of the ranking doesn't necessarily mean he's the best surgeon. So you're going to have to try to use your hunch a little bit here in determining who you're going to go to. So the other thing, of course, to bear in mind, you have to do this carefully, because you usually have a consultation fee, so you're going to have to pay for this. So you don't want to waste money unnecessarily. So you want to choose the right people. So once you've chosen 3 surgeons, you go see them, okay? Now, obviously, when you go there, okay, a good surgeon wants to understand what it is that you want, okay, what you're not happy about. And I think that last point is even more important, because what you want is one thing, and a surgeon doesn't necessarily expect you to know exactly what you want, but they sure as heck want to know what you don't like about your nose, so they can address it, okay? So you tell them, listen, I don't like the hump on my nose, I don't like the shape of my nose, I feel it's too long, I feel it's too prominent, too dominant, whatever. So you got to make that clear to them, okay? Now, obviously, a surgeon will then examine you and have a look at that, and then tell you, usually very, very quickly, whether they feel they can achieve a lot of your expectations in terms of eliminating those problems and give you a more improved nose. Now, that's all well and good, of course, but how do you know that he can deliver what you really want, and whether you can actually like the nose, okay? Now, there are a lot of computer programs out there, okay, that some surgeons use, software, which you put on your computer and then you play around, just like you have these ones on your phone where you can play around very easily and change the person's face. So you can play around with these kind of things. You can come up with quite an interesting or even good looking nose that way. The problem is this, okay, so you spend like 10 minutes with a surgeon, take a little bit more there, lift this up a little bit, and you say, yeah, that's the one, I want that, okay? Now, of course, having a great picture on the screen doesn't necessarily mean that he can transfer that to reality. In other words, give you that kind of nose, because it's a whole different ballgame playing on with your mouse and then using your knife to deliver that, right? I'm sure most people can understand that. So just because he gets the nice picture doesn't mean you're going to get one of those, okay? So what other way can you use to actually understand whether he can do this for you? Well, one thing that I do is actually I put a lot of post-operative pictures on my website of patients that I've done. Okay, now the reason I do this is not because I'm telling you you can choose one of these noses and have one of these noses, because you can't. Okay, everybody is unique, everybody's individual. Okay, so the nose that you see there is great for that person, and that's it. Okay, doesn't mean you can get one. However, what it does give you, it gives you a little bit of an idea in terms of what that surgeon's taste is. In other words, what his aesthetic sense is. Because if he's trying to achieve a certain sort of kind of look for the nose, you'll be able to tell immediately once you look at that person, yeah, that looks all right, or it doesn't look right. If you look at sort of 5 or 10 pictures of post-operative patients and say to yourself, yeah, I think that that's made a nice difference, I agree with these kind of changes, then you kind of you kind of understand that you're sharing the same sense of aesthetics as that surgeon. If, however, on the other hand, you look at them all and you say, you know what, I'm not so sure, they look a bit odd to me, well, then maybe that surgeon is not the right person for you. And it's probably best to then go to somebody else. So the best thing to do is to ask the surgeon you're going to go to see a lot of his pictures, a lot of his examples, see what his work is like. Because that way, if you think, yeah, I like that kind of work, then it means you're more likely to be able to get a result that you're going to like. And as a surgeon, from a surgeon's point of view, it's not as if I can wake a patient up halfway through the operation and say, what do you think? Should I take a little bit more off? It's not like the barber, right? It's not a hairdresser. So I can't do that. So you're going to have to rely completely on that surgeon's sense of aesthetics. So by knowing that he's done good work because you've seen a lot of his work before, then that sort of gives you, the reassurance that he hopefully will deliver, something that you're going to like as well. It's not a guarantee, mind you, but at least it gives you an indication that he's done some good work in the past, and so he's likely to be able to be in a position to offer you a result that you're going to be happy with. So I think out of all the things we've talked about, that's probably the most, if you like, surefire way, if there is one, of trying to understand whether they can deliver for you or not. So I hope you found that helpful. Just a little bit of insight in terms of what you need to look out for whenever you're looking for a surgeon for rhinoplasty. So that's just a little bit of insight for you to understand in terms of how to decide which surgeon to go for. I hope you found it helpful. Stay tuned for some other videos in the future. We'll be talking more about other aspects of plastic surgery. Thanks for watching.